Hey guys, welcome back. I hope everyone's doing well today. This is the third time I was recording this video. I think I was kind of blabbing on the other two records. So here we are, third time's a charm. But you know, it's kind of cold today. It's pretty chilly. There was a little bit of snow earlier, but I was thankful I was able to go to the nature park yesterday for just a little bit. It was raining pretty hard. I went to get a cup of coffee at the gas station and I was like, oh, let me just drive at the nature park. And I went by, and as soon as I got there, it quit raining, and I was like, yes. So I was able to go out and like have my walk and release my energy and stuff. So it was quite nice. It was actually really nice. It was peaceful. I love that. And it felt kind of warm, believe it or not. I thought it was going to be freezing, but I was fine. When I got back to the car, just my fingers were a little bit cold, but other than that, it was just nice to get out in nature. That's the only thing I hate about winter. It's like you're kind of stuck inside, you know, so you have to take like vitamin D3 and, you know, just stuff like that to keep your minerals and nutrients up, you know. But I don't know, just interesting, you know. I've been just always thinking, right? This brain never shuts off. It just cracks me up. Like, I can be doing something and the brain is still trying to solve problems in the background. It just, sometimes I'm like, oh, quit, you know. But that's what happens when you're high vibrational, because you're working through stuff all the time. Like, you really can't turn it off. But it's also enlightening. Like, just the information you get is, it can be profound, it can be comical, it can be insightful, you know. But just keeping yourself balanced, right? That's why I love going out in nature, because that can like balance out all the stuff you have going on up here. And sometimes you have to do that, right? Because we are one with the world. So you have to consider that when you go out in nature, or when you know, do certain things, that it grounds you, right? So all the stuff you feel inside can kind of like dissipate, you know. It's kind of great. But the world tells us about all this too, you know. If you just look back in the day, people didn't wear shoes. Well, yeah, because if you don't have shoes on, you're grounding yourself to the earth when you walk barefoot. Right? Look how it's changed. Now we have like rubber heels and stuff that does not allow you to ground yourself to the earth. So unless you take your shoes off, or you have a grounding mat or grounding rod or something like that, you'll never be balanced, you know. Like, I have a little I bought like a mat, and it has a one cord on it, and you plug it into the neutral, I think, or ground. You plug it into that little circle prong of your outlet, and the mat I bought, the cord only has the circle prong. You put it in that, and when you sit on the mat or sleep on it, it grounds you, right? It just pulls out all of those frequencies in your body that can't release themselves, because we go through all sorts of energetic interferences every day, right? It could be people sending energy to you, which is freaking ridiculous, or it can be like just environmental situations. 5G is one of them. 5G is actually really deadly. It doesn't have to go around your house or around a parked car to get to your device. It actually just penetrates through someone's house or a person themselves to get to the device that's requesting that signal. Okay? So when that happens, let's say for instance, a signal of 5G goes through me to get to my neighbor that's trying to use it, or someone in this housing addition, then what happens is that has affected me inside. Okay? It's like free radicals in your body that are just bouncing around. And over time, that can cause a lot of health issues. That can cause a lot of issues. So what you do is ground yourself, right? Like I was stating on that grounding mat. You can buy one on Amazon. But if you do grounding techniques, then what happens is all those free radicals in your body have a way to release out of your body. They ground. They go out of that grounding mat, right? They leave your body, which then leaves you feeling more uplifted, you know, less depressed, sleeping better, less inflammation. There's so many things that you can benefit just from doing that every day, okay? And that's actually really key. And life tells us about that. You know, things have changed over time. We wear rubber shoes, you know, like our soles are rubber, you know, so you're not grounded. You know, they have 5G implemented, so that's also causing issues with grounding. There's so many things that have changed that have actually been a downfall to society. Because if you just look around, like the news and stuff, like what is wrong with people, man? All the crimes you see and just stuff happening. It's like, where has people's brain gone? Well, it's because they're, boggled up in the brain from all the stuff going on, from the medications they take, from the drugs that people take that have been tainted, from the food that people are eating that have been bioengineered, right? Everything in this world is like meant to keep you in this trap, right? That's what they do. It's kind of sad. It's like everyone's in a trap, in a little energetic trap. That's what I said. The curse of that needs broken so people can uplift beyond that, because that would be a whole new world. That would be awesome. That's when people can feel love, their heart chakra gets open, their mental fog is cleared. So many things can happen with that. And that's really key, It's just sad to see how society slowly declines over time due to all these things that they implement. I think that one thing, this world has a lot of money, okay? And instead, if you just go and look at some of the budgets these departments have, it is mind-blowing to think that they are budgeting or they're having meetings and hearings to see what the budget is for the upcoming year. Why are there still people that are going without water and food in this world? I think the first step that anybody should take when they get in charge is to make sure that every single person has food, water, and shelter. That should be a basic met, okay? Everyone should have those basic necessities met, because everybody should be having food and water daily, okay, with no issue. They shouldn't be hungry. There should never be a child hungry in this world, okay? If we have millions of monies that are being set aside on budgets to fund these departments, then we should have people that are eating every night. That should be like something that, people place as a priority, is to have those basic needs covered for the citizens in their state or country or whatnot. There's got to be a way. If we have all this money set aside for military and defense department and, all of these other sectors, then we should have enough money to feed and make sure everyone has water, right? That's so key. So, energetic increase, right? Everybody should just be meditating and considering those factors and, just really seeing how it changes your life. That's why I harp on it, is because like once I started realizing that from God above, then I started changing things in my life and I was like, oh my gosh, it is a benefit that you can see quickly. So it's not like, oh, you got to work on something for 6 years and you still can't see the benefit of it. This isn't that way. When you start doing this, you'll notice quickly, okay, the changes in your life, how you feel. When you wake up, you're like, oh, I just feel lighter. I feel enlightened. I feel happy. Just certain steps that you take can really change your outlook on life, okay? It really can. And then it also, by doing that, it changes everything around you. How you treat people, what you hold inside, your relationships, all of those things, okay? And that's what we need. We need that for the world. It's so important, because how can we ever advance if people don't change, right? There has to be a change. So, what's the change in you, okay? Go listen to that song from Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. It's such a good song. And that song right there lets you know that he was not a pedophile, okay? I'm telling you now. I cried when I first heard the words of that. When I actually listened to what he was saying, I cried. I'm like, man, that documentary was bullshit that they put out on him. He did not do that to kids, okay? My opinion, it says in there, he was a victim of selfish love, which means he was taken advantage of when he was a child, okay? So the reason why he was then hanging out with children as an adult is because he was stuck in that child mentality, because it was taken from him at that time. He was wanting kids to be kids, okay? Because he was still a kid mentally. He did not take advantage of kids, okay? I'm telling you now. Just pay attention to stuff, right? But look in the mirror, because like he said in there, no one can make a change unless you make a change yourself, right? It has to be the man in the mirror. Like, make that change, you know? Such a good song. It's kind of, it just like, it brings tears every time. I have a tear in my eye when I hear that, because it is just so truthful. And, you know, like he was saying, how can he walk past kids when he sees they're in need? His heart was genuine, you know? Listen to that song again. Everything they said about him, I'm telling you, was probably false, okay? Of course, they have all these stories about him after he dies, you know? They couldn't have done that when he was alive. But regardless, that's my opinion on it. So, make a change, right? But the change comes first with you. Because when you change, then you start changing things around you, then people around you change. Because they're like, oh yeah, you know, damn, I want to do that too, right? Like, look how much that person has uplifted their life, right? That's how you do it. So, praises to the Most High. Nothing happens without Him.